All right, so this is the last round of the tournament. We have the white pieces again, got a double white. Just coming off of a pretty tough loss, but we want to make the best of this tournament. So let's see how this game went. So we have an interesting move order to get to a Queen's Gambit declined. Takes, bishop g5, bishop e7, e3, c6. This is just standard moves. After h6, I play this bishop f4 line, which we've seen before in other videos. H3, and now bishop d6. Here, maybe it makes more sense to take on d6 and play knight f3 than what I did. I played knight ge2, trying to like maybe save a tempo or something in some weird way. Rook e8, castles, queen e7, and now I take with the idea of putting the knight on g3 and thinking about pressuring some squares. Bishop goes to e6. I play queen c2, just improving move. Knight bd7. And then here, yeah, I play this move rook e1 with the idea that the next move in black's, the next move black wants to play is knight f8. And so after knight f8, then I want to play this rook b1 and b4. But I want to wait for the knight to get to f8 first, because if I do it with the knight still on d7, if I play like rook b1, then it's possible that the knight will stay here, and on b4, it'll be met by b5, and then the knight is very quick to enter through b6 and c4. So instead, I play rook e1, then rook b1, bishop d7, and b4. b6. I play knight a4, preventing c5. Maybe at some point I'm going to want to play a b5 break and penetrate on the c file. Rook a c8, rook c1. And yeah, so g6. And I realized the next move that black wants to play is like knight e6. g6 was to like maybe stop this knight from jumping. Next move black wants to play is knight e6. But knight e6 I saw is a blunder. And so I just want to play a waiting move that's a little bit helpful for me. So I play rook b2. And if knight e6 is not played, if the blunder is not played, like maybe say like king g7 is played, the rook on b2 is very helpful. I can maybe stack on this c file. I can maybe stack on the b file, play b5, something. It's a useful move. But knight e6 is played. And after knight e6, I drop this one on the board, which I have to imagine is a brilliant move. It sacrifices the bishop, but it looks like it's sacrificing the bishop for 3 pawns. But in reality, it actually wins the entire game. After f takes, which was not played, queen takes would be fork. And so you need to block with the knight. But after knight g7, I have a brilliant move. Maybe it's not going to be considered brilliant, but a very good move. Knight h5. And knight h5 is a fork. It's very rare that you see a knight forking 2 other knights, because normally one of them, they're all attacking each other. But here, both knights are pinned to their respective the king and queen. And so this move, there's no defense. I'm going to be winning a knight, and so this ends the game. I'll be up 3 pawns, and that'll be it. So unfortunate for me, my opponent did not take the bishop. Instead, played knight g7. And here, maybe better than what I did. I played knight f5, trading off pieces. Here, maybe better would just be to drop the bishop back and keep all the pieces on the board, attack the king, maybe like a reorganization of forces. The king is very weak here. Instead, I trade off all these pieces, and after knight c3, knight d6, I bring the queen over. But I sort of realize that it's a little bit difficult to break through on the queen side, and on the king side, black does have this g file open, which is going to be putting some pressure on my king. Rook bc2, rook g8, king h2. The knight plants itself on c4. And here I thought that this move, knight e4, was very important, because not only does it threaten a fork, it can't be taken because of the knight on c4 will hang. But the other thing that it does is it stops queen d6, which would be a fork on these pieces. And so it's a very multi-purpose move. So rook g6, I play knight back to d2. Now if there's the fork, I'll just play g3. If you take there, I can take there, and we can trade everything. I'm very happy to see trades. Rook g8, so I need to play g3 just to solidify the king side. Knight goes to a3. I didn't want to play rook c3 because I thought, well, knight b5 is going to be a tempo, first of all, but also I was a little bit worried about like queen d6, and then if I defend this pawn, there's rook takes g3 sacrifices. maybe I shouldn't be as worried about this B pawn falling as I was, but it feels like at this point, like if I don't, if I lose the B pawn for any reason, unless I'm like tactically winning somewhere, uh, like why am I better? Because that would be my advantage right now is I'm up a pawn. I have some play on the queen side, but like my advantage is really that I'm up a pawn. Black has a lot of play on the G file. Black has a sort my king. It feels like Black's king should be a little bit weaker, but really I think I have these two pawns, but my rooks are over here, so my king is weaker because Black has pieces near it. His king is fine because my pieces are over here. Um, Rook b2, knight b5. I play knight f3, going into this square for a fork. F6, I put the knight on h4. Feels useful there. It's sort of it gains the tempo, and also now there's no rooks defending laterally. Rook g5, I play rook c2. Here I was expecting rook c8, and I was gonna play like a4, knight d6. I don't know. It felt sort of like maybe queen f3. I could just build a position. Instead, my opponent played knight d6 and allowed me to take on c6. Here, I have to be completely winning. King h8, rook c7, queen e8. I take another pawn. I was sort of scared in this position. I didn't have that much time. I had some time. I had enough time, but I was getting a little scared that I was gonna like blunder some rook or something getting stuck in there. But I just take a third pawn. So now I'm up 4 pawns because I had the one from g6 earlier. So I'm up 4 pawns. Like definitely winning. Knight e4. And I played g4. So this is the 41st move. So I was just given an extra half hour. I played g4 because I didn't want to allow this sacrifice. Now, if I just play rook c7, then knight takes g3, and if I take rook b7, probably I'm just completely winning. This is definitely a better way of playing than I did. I was for some reason I was a little bit worried about like a queen e6 threatening mate on h3 that I didn't see how I would stop. But first of all, I would have queen f1, but I don't even need that because I'll have mate, and if you can't defend this mate. If you move the rook off the file, then I'll have a queen c2 supporting rook coming to c8 with a skewer. So g4 is completely unnecessary, and h5 is the response. Now, I saw this move. Of course, when I played g4, I saw h5 as a possibility, and so my intention was f3. However, f3, my opponent shows that they can take. Maybe I can take the knight, but this was not my intention. My intention was just to play h takes, and go away. If the knight doesn't have any squares to go back to. Maybe at some point I can play king g2 and rook h1. I open another file. My opponent plays a brilliant move, which might not actually win or hold the game, but it makes me extremely uncomfortable. Rook h5, which okay, so let's just look at some of the threats, right? Rook takes h4 is a threat. If I take the knight, uh, then rook takes h4 and queen's going to come in here, and the next rook is going to take on g4, completely winning for black. If I what else can I really do? If I take the rook, queen h5, and what do I do here? Because if I play queen e1, that would transpose into the game. Actually, I think actually no, it's a little bit different. What was it here? Here. With queen e1, there is rook g3 move. But now I might give mate. Now I might deliver checkmate over here. So what was I worried about here? If I took the rook. It was just like, it was just crazy. What was I worried about? Takes, queen e1. I don't remember what I was worried about. It just felt like maybe this move, maybe with the horse. Yeah, with the horse, right? Where do I go? I mean, worst case, if I allow this, then there's a lot going on. Like maybe something like this could be played. But here there should be a way to pick something up. I'm not sure how. Maybe there's not. I don't know. Anyway, this position is not something I wanted to go for. And then so I actually played queen e1 and offered a draw, which was accepted. My opponent was showing this line after the game, which he wasn't sure how to evaluate. I didn't even see this move. I was actually mostly worried about queen d8. Queen d8 with the idea of f5, and then I would lose. Uh, However, in my analysis after the game, I think I have this move, and I don't really know what my opponent should do, because I'm going to have rook h6 if f5 and then trade the rooks. So that's going to be very nice for me. So queen d8 I shouldn't have been even worried about. So I don't really know what. So his move, though, knight d2. And here maybe I have to take this rook and play this position. But I really, after rook h5, I would not be surprised if the machine says any number of things. So very excited to see what it says. It was unfortunate that the game ended in a draw the way it did, because I was completely winning in it. But we can speed through this first area of the game, because nothing super interesting. Rook e1 I thought was just a nice waiting move. The other move I was considering was rook fc1, which is being listed, and I just thought it was a little bit too committal, but that was the other move I was considering. But this is fine. Rook b1, b4, b5 is playable. I was thinking about that, of course. Knight a4 I played. Rook c here, rook b2, and yeah, if you don't like, king g7 is sort of the move I was anticipating, but this move allows this tactic. This move should be given. It's brilliant. It is. Yeah, and if takes, then this is completely winning after queen g6, knight h5, which is just, I'll put it on the board one more time just because it is a very nice thing to look at. However, knight g7 was played, and yeah, I should just play bishop d3, although knight f5 is given similar evaluation. We trade the pieces, knight c3, queen e2. It was already sort of unclear how to play this. Rook c2, g8, king h2. I thought this move was important. It's fine, just like any other move, really. Yeah, rook c3, rook b2, both playable. Knight b5, knight f3 I liked. Knight h4 was good. +4 advantage. Yeah, just allowing me to take on c6, rook c7, rook takes pawn, rook b7, rook takes another pawn. g4 is unnecessary. Yeah, I should just play rook c7, rook b7, and win. G4 instead, h5, f3, h takes, rook h5, and I can just take this. Instead I play queen e1 and offer draw in a completely winning position. Fantastic. So yeah, this sort of thing happens, I guess. Really just terrible. Knight d2, I can just take the rook. I was worried about if this move, I don't know what I was worried about. I was just worried. It's just very unfortunate. I can just take this thing. Queen takes. Rook f6, right? There's this rook f6 defense protecting the pawn. Yeah. It's just unfortunate because this would have been a pretty good game otherwise. And yeah, I was winning in both of the games that I didn't win, and the other 3 games were pretty clean. So overall, it was a pretty reasonable tournament result. I gained what was it, like 15, 16 rating points, so it's fine. I'm happy to gain the points, but yeah, definitely feel like I left some points out there. Definitely game before was just unfortunate, but I guess I was I was outplayed in the opening and then was outplaying in the middle game and then blundered in the end. That's how that went. And then this one sort of like outplaying most of the way, took advantage of a blunder, and then just like converted very shakily to the point of being too scared to continue playing the game. So that was how this tournament seemed to go. But I hope you enjoyed watching the videos. next tournament I'm playing will be the Connecticut State Championship. So that's going to be the first or second weekend of November, and I'll get those videos out when I do. But yeah, until then, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.